Here we go. Welcome to the AdvisorPro Podcast. Today, I'm joined by Leslie Jones, the founder and CEO of Spiral Method. Hey, Leslie. Good afternoon.
Good morning. Yeah, good evening to you, right?
It's me. Exactly. So, hey, Leslie, you've pioneered a group facilitation process that's really transformed leaders, teams, and peer groups. And you've been doing this for quite a while, right?
Yes, 30 years maybe.
Yeah. Oh,
I'm
wow.
aging myself.
No, don't do that.
Yeah.
But importantly, look, you've built a referral only high ticket coaching practice, but you're not specifically, or you're not consciously, and you're not purposefully chasing likes or flooding social media, but you're designing experiences to attract founders, CEOs, and execs. And then you're kind of getting that experience and making people stay engaged for years. Sounds amazing. I'd love to find out more.
Oh my gosh, Colin, I love that reflection back because I really have not spent very much time at all on branding or marketing. And that was a great summary.
That's why I'm here.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's my one job. Tick.
Amazing. You're so talented.
More. So, hey, look, so in terms of cutting through noise and using peer groups as, I guess, credibility engines,
Yeah.
and then finding the clients that really, really see your services and their services as this high level investment. This is what we're all about. We had this
Got it.
fascinating podcast just last week, similar kind of thing. Focus on the people who are going to value you, and you're going to have, long-term customers. Am I on the right track here?
Yeah, I mean, what you're reminding me of really conscious decisions that I made early on in my career, which is anti-performance. Let me that sounds silly, but I love people and I love life and I love energy. And so I used to go to networking events just to go look for new friends and follow where the energy goes. This whole blind, like people handing out their business cards, I was just always averse to that. And so I say anti performance, meaning I've never wanted to put on a face or try to sell or convince or manipulate or like that. I just wanted to go out and serve. So, literally going to events or having calls with prospects has always been about finding good people that I want to play with
Yeah.
and being just myself and being honest is one of the reasons people hire us is because we talk straight and we're not playing all those games, especially CEOs and founders, right? Who are just tired of being sold. They're bombarded. So I didn't even look up people that I was talking with and find out all their credentials because that'd throw me into a anxiety or performance mindset or
Mm.
trying to get somewhere with them instead of just hanging out with people. Yeah, that's really from the beginning. That's how the referral based business grew. And looking for advocates, which is another thing
Love
we could talk.
I love that. It's very much a mindset, isn't it? I mean, you're very much used to, I would imagine, turning up to a client and being able to add value very, very quickly by deconstructing like a value proposition or asking the right questions, asking some tough questions. Now, purposefully in my work now, very often I shouldn't say this, should I? I don't prepare.
Huh? Right. Yes.
I don't certainly
Amen.
over prepare.
Yeah.
I very often spend a couple of minutes, if that, and certainly on coaching, just having a look at LinkedIn or just maybe having a look at a bio. But beyond that, I don't go in too deep. Otherwise, I'm making, preconceptions. I'm overthinking it and thinking, oh, how can I help this instead of having a conversation? Exactly what you've just said. So,
This is especially now with everything that's happening in the world, or at least in the United States.
what's
It's
going on?
time.
No one's talked about that. No, I'm joking. That's another podcast.
Yeah, we can't go there. This human, just being human and remembering, what it's like to sit around a fire and share our dreams and be together as we start the day instead of jump right into the production computer performance mode. And that I think speaks to one thing that I've found many coaches and advisors forget is that we're also human and we have to do the work. If we're going to serve people, we have to do the work ourselves. And that means designing our lives the way we want and being able to produce results and have health and charity and family and spirituality and adventure.
Fun, joy, exactly. Yeah, and many of us have kind of gone into this, because we've maybe done that big corporate career. I mean, you've done this for 30 years, and some of the people certainly listening to the podcast would have been in big corporate for 30 years, and now
Yeah.
looking at this and going, "What the hell do I do now? How am I going to be relevant? And how is this 30 years of, say, they've been at, I don't know, Microsoft for 30 years? Well, they probably wouldn't be doing anything. They'd be rich as ignore that analogy. They've had that experience, and now they're looking to see, well, how am I going to be relevant to, let's say, a startup? The kind of things, how do I take a big board meeting and now make that relevant to a startup? So there's all kinds of interesting things that come up in our coaching. So, anyway, in terms of, I again want to dig into the peer group experience. Um,
Mhm.
how does that work, and what's the outcome? How do you invigilate that?
Let me make a distinction first of all. I'm all about non-prescriptive. No formula, no, it's not linear. It's not transactional. I'm going to pay you and then you give me these things. Right? I've got a lot to give. But I if I have someone on the phone, for example, that says, I really need my people to learn about communication, can you go fix them? Absolutely not. Right? I need the CEO to be working
Mm,
with me doing the work and participating with their people. So that's just one example of non prescriptive. My peer groups, and I don't know that this is how peer groups generally or mastermind groups are led these days, but this is how I've always done it is that like I was saying earlier before we started the recording,
mm,
it's about real people having real conversations in
yeah,
real time about real issues. I don't know what's going to happen because there's 14 people that have their full lives going on and they're all coming in with trauma and whatever happened that morning and what keeps them up at night and their goals and dreams and visions and all of that, right? And so the spiral method is about the guide creating the space and the container
yeah,
for people to exhale and really have psychological safety, which
mm,
has to be calibrated. There's side note, all sorts of transformational programs out there that are not real community. They're 2 days of an experience. And then we go back to real life. Spiral method is about this real talk and real people building sustainable, powerful community over time.
mm.
So one of the things that I do in the peer groups and what spiral method is about is managing toxicity
Oh,
because human beings create toxic things.
some more than others.
And that will suck away
Yeah,
that I started this really because I saw communities collapsing, blowing up, or fizzling out, and people not knowing what was happening. And it was pretty obvious that there was something that did not get addressed and then it festers. And again, they either blow up or fizzle out.
and then and when they fizzle out, it's almost like dictatorships. When they fizzle out, there's a vacuum, and then whatever is the populist or whoever votes on, it might not be the right thing to do for that community, but whatever's most popular all of a sudden, takes place, and then all of a sudden you lead to kind of groupthink, and then every single community looks the same.
Then we have inclusion and exclusion and polarity and good and bad. And this really with what's going on in the United States and with social media in general, it keep like, I don't care about your opinion. Opinion is the lowest level conversation we could be having, right? And now we have social media is designed to battle opinions.
Mm,
So spiral methods about all different kinds of people being able to come together and have your opinion and inquire together
mm,
and find that magic space in between. Because when you really narrow it down, we are all the same. And
uh,
we want connection. We want to be witnessed.
mm.
We want to grow into something bigger than what we know. My people.
Yeah, absolutely. I have this debate quite often, actually, like sometimes with random strangers, typically not. I mean, I think originally with a good friend of mine, we were talking about truth versus opinion, and we're talking about social media and, trying to define, well, what is opinion? Well, an opinion is someone's truth, right? And that's kind of scary because then
A
truth
belief.
is
Yeah.
a belief, but then beliefs and truth isn't necessarily fact. But
Yeah.
that fact might be actually the fact that
Right.
defines the truth for that person that then,
Yeah.
propagates to their opinion, and you're like, "Oh my gosh, we're now completely destabilizing the whole concept of fact."
That's right. And the real distinction around this is Our thoughts and our emotions are internal. And so it's our words and our behavior, right, that make the difference. So if we're believing something to be true, that impacts our behavior, our thoughts. And if we can't discern the difference, that's where it gets scary.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was lucky enough, I think I mentioned this in a previous podcast, but I'm going to mention her again. I was lucky enough to be sitting randomly on a session, and she was talking all about the fact our brain isn't here to keep us happy, it's just here to keep us alive. So, and so you go, okay, so maybe if I don't listen to some of those thoughts, some of those facts, or some of those opinions, and detach myself from it, maybe I'll actually be a little bit happier. But anyway,
Right.
hey, Leslie, we're going down a full kind of group therapy session here,
Oh,
as
right.
opposed to the spiral method. So, shall we spiral back up? Okay, so we're completely different from a generic mastermind or accountability circle.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So how are we completely? I love this. How are we different?
Well, yeah, it's so much a show more than a tell.
Yeah.
But at the foundation of Spiral, we play 3 games, and those games are we go in a circle, and they have rules to them. And so we're managing already extrovert versus introvert. We speak from the heart, not the head. We are brief, which does not mean surface, so we get to the heart of the matter. So I'm just giving you a little flavor. What we're doing when we play those games or whenever we spiral is we're being trained
Mm.
and we're practicing. And we're practicing things like really listening to others. There's no crosstalk, there's no banter, right? We stay in the container. Witnessing others, we're honoring people. We're not caretaking, right? So we get to notice all the things that we do, give advice, try to find solutions versus listening, ramble, when we get uncomfortable.
I'm good at that.
Right. I am too. So Spiral it's a training and a practice
Yeah.
for everyone involved, including the facilitator, inside of that container. And so it develops a culture
Yeah.
very quickly. People know that if they speak something out loud, the rest of the group is gonna
Yeah.
hold them accountable to it. If they're
Yeah.
gonna make a declaration or a promise versus a hope, we're gonna talk about that. If they say they're gonna do something, it comes back it's not the facilitator's job. It's the part of the culture.
So you're surfacing really a whole bunch of new dynamics. Might not be present in that organization or in amongst that group. So, and also maybe surfacing for deeper accountability.
Right, and let's talk about the elephant in the room. I went into work with a leadership team one day, and they had just found out the day before that someone was being demoted. And people loved this guy. And it really was a demotion. He was moving to another team, and everyone knew, but no one was talking about it. No one knew what to say. And they just were expecting me to move on with the day and not, but this was impacting everything. Talk about people not being able to speak freely. And so if I was going to go on top of all that and try to do some leadership training program, right? No way. So we took 10 minutes and gave everyone a chance to speak directly to him and just clear the air. And then we got on with the work of the day.
That's,
And like that, right? It's very simple. Yeah. So I'll stop there.
no, that's amazing because I guess that's almost like a group therapy session, isn't it? And everyone gets to kind of get everything out and support him in that situation,
And
empathize with him,
just
acknowledge.
acknowledging what's happening. It's okay to be scared or resentful or whatever the ripple effect of this will have. This is
Yeah.
what's happened.
Absolutely. So you're not going to get that kind of work in one-on-one sessions because that poor guy's going to have to relive that thing 5 times with 5 people. And so having that feedback loop, that's really powerful.
They're willing, if people are even willing to talk about it, right? Like, I
Absolutely.
find it fascinating how we are trained, quote
Mm,
unquote,
mm,
to keep our mouth shut,
yeah.
to avoid.
Otherwise, you guys are going to get the knock on the door soon.
Exactly.
Oh, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. It's bad enough here. But I mean, there's certain things that we can't say like at all. The police will turn up on the door.
Yeah.
Anyway, digress. But look, that's a really lovely example. Thank you for that. I mean, one-on-ones, you do get the intimacy, don't you? You do get people opening up. Of course, you've probably got a larger group dynamic thing going on there. So you're really capturing maybe even more breakthroughs.
There's the peer group spiral method is not coaching. And so this is an important distinction. Public coaching is very risky
Mm.
and it's possible, but we get permission if anyone, if we're going to offer advice even, we get permission in these peer groups. But you're pointing to something important here. There's exponential growth when you're in community. I had someone yesterday in a demo. This is a group of strangers basically, and we did a spiral demo, hour and 15 minutes. And he acknowledged two things that he had never said publicly and barely said to himself. And you know what'll happen now is he's going to go get an action because it becomes part of the collective instead of living in our own head, right? The more we get things out and can see them, we can separate from them and then they're not running our lives. And that just happens at an exponential level in a group setting.
Absolutely.
That's safe.
Absolutely. Love that. I love that. It sometimes, I find in my sessions, I'm sharing, in fact, I'm always sharing, the bits where I've screwed up.
Yep.
Yeah, and certainly as a founder, like the first time founder, yeah, screwed up all the time. Surprised I'm still alive. Set fire to the office one day. Anyway, that's another story. Equally in coaching, none of us get it right all the time. And I think
Yep.
said I've read great coaches don't hide their humanity; they guide with it.
Yep.
Yeah, which I love that.
That's a great quote.
Well, it's your quote.
Oh, great. I didn't know I said that. Wow. That's
It's in your
good. That's hilarious.
So, do you have an example? That's hilarious. Where you've really kind of built some great relationships with some of these long-term, higher ticket clients where you've almost led with that humanity. You've led with that, being a bit vulnerable or being a bit, hey, look, I don't have all the questions, but maybe we'll get them together. That kind of experience. Have you done that kind
My goodness. I mean, I don't know why this example it's twofold maybe as being an effective coach as well. But I really screwed up. Well, going off the failure conversation. I mean, this was 15 years ago probably. And I had male client who was 20 years older than me, and he had hired me to work with his daughter. And I accidentally shared information with her that I should not have shared with her that I had. And he called me and he was so angry and he was just yelling on the phone and rightfully so. I mean, it was a huge violation, right? And it was just taking it. And my nervous system was getting all amped up and he was just so angry. And I just finally said, "What is your intention right now?" And he said, "To get my heart rate down." And I said, "I can't help you with that."
well, you could, but okay.
Said, "You know what?" I said, "You go to get your heart rate down and then call me back." Right. And, we maintained a dear friendship over time and maintained our working relationship as well out of that moment. I am more vulnerable. I'm trying to think, it happens all the time. Like, I don't know how to lead otherwise. So I'm trying to find a vivid example just because it's just part of the deal, you know?
Well, I think in adversity, you kind of almost like fostering a safe space for someone else to then say, actually, yeah, all right. Colin's not perfect. Leslie's not perfect. I know, I'm not perfect as a new coach. Yeah, I'm probably going to screw up, and that's okay. But here's some kind of guide. Here's some kind of torch in the dark that's going to help me navigate some of those pitfalls. And I do see like some of the work I do, certainly in the people moving into more of a portfolio career from full time. It's like, look, don't make that mistake. Yeah,
Right.
I've done that. Don't try and extract cash from that type of client. It doesn't work. Don't
Right.
try.
That's the beauty, I think, in the folks that have been in corporate for so long. They actually know intimately the grind and the politics and the cost of ways of operating and how to, I have folks at some large consulting firms and the environment is hard. And they're working a lot of hours and it's like either transform the environment, accept it or leave, right? Those are your options. And to be real clear what you're choosing,
Yeah.
right? And that's what these folks have to offer the people that are still in corporate.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. I had this conversation with someone close to me earlier. Yeah, it's like, can we sustain this level of activity, for 10 years? No, not 10 years. No, no.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, as you know, I'm doing a great many different things at the moment. We're even shipping product. Oh god, we got the coaching, we got this, we got that, and it's wonderful. I love it. Yeah, but it's not sustainable.
For the season. Exactly.
It's got to be for the season. It's got to be for a couple of years, maybe. And I do empathize with those people that insert big six consultancies here. But what are you getting into when you sign that? You sign that contract. You know what you're getting into.
Yep, totally.
I love
And
that.
it it's every relationship and every moment that matters, and that they do have a ripple effect and impact others and our own lives, right? Into the evening, into the next day.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Hey, look, I read somewhere else. I mean, hopefully I've got the right person. You're the oldest child of a Buddhist and a born again. Fantastic. And you describe your path as paved in joy and pain. Now, does some of that come into the spiral method? Does some of that, like the anti, I mean, maybe I'm generalizing here, but does the anti advertising, the anti and do things from those really grounded roots, did that frame some of the spiral method?
Just say that last part again?
Did that frame some of the spiral method?
Yeah. You know what, Colin? You're so insightful or intuitive. I don't know. It's fascinating because I'm 55 right now, and getting at the deeper cuts of and why I've done what I've done in my life and how trauma has impacted things. Back in high school, for example, I would go to a party and I was tracking 10 layers of stuff happening. I couldn't fully engage because I was also aware of all of the dynamics, and that's a trauma response.
Me too.
Yeah, and that's why I've been so good at what I do, and why I also have some heartbreak around connection. Like, my work is about connection, but I'm also like, I'm just starting to see where instead of saying they can't meet me, I'm like, might be unmeetable the way that, and so I have these amazing communities. My peer groups are my people. I'm still the guide. I get to be part of the community, but I'm also guiding it. So there's a level that I can't sink in fully. And the more that time goes on, the more that gap is present for me. Right. So yeah, all of it, all of it.
Leslie, I mean, look, when I saw that, I wanted to dig into that because that's exactly my journey as well.
Mm.
Yeah, so I'm the director of this or the leader of that and whatnot, and I have been my whole career. It means that you are distant. You have to be slightly separate, which then sometimes means personally, I've got more friends all around the world than I do here in England.
Yes.
I know I can get on a plane and go and find best buddy in Australia or best buddy in the US, but sometimes what that connection, because I'm so focused then on helping people, coach, the guide, the mentor, the this, that, and the other, then very often I think that's to my own detriment.
Well, and see this, I've had social anxiety my whole life, but I didn't know it. Maybe that's how trauma, quote unquote. It wasn't like major trauma happened. It was just whatever growing up. We all have stuff, right? But I moved very quickly to leadership positions in any community that I enter because that's comfortable. I feel safe. I have a level of authority, or control is a weird word about it, but I know my position. And, if I go into parties or events without a container and I'm not in the leadership position, I'm agitated, So this is integrate. I'm integrating all this right now. That's why I can talk about it
I love
because
it.
I'm.
I love it. And thank you for sharing that. We're all on a journey. You're helping people on their journey. I'm trying to help people on their journey too. And sometimes we've got to stop and take a look at ourselves as well as the coach, as the expert in the room, and like things like imposter syndrome come up in my sessions all the time.
Of course.
And my response is, "You think I don't have it?
Right.
We've all got it. We've all got it. It's a human condition. Just chill out. It's fine. You'll be okay.
Right.
Yeah, fake it till you make it. It's fine. We'll figure it out. That's why I'm here." And so on and so on and so on. Hey, can you talk to me a little bit about attracting high value clients? We talked about obviously the length and duration of the engagements that you have, and obviously then I guess what we'd say the LTV, the lifetime value of that client. We shouldn't just containerize them as LTV, should we? The human outcome has been wonderful, and so therefore they've stayed with you for longer. But given that you're referral only and given you're not doing traditional marketing, how do we get out the traps fast to make this a viable business as a coach, without doing some of that? Or, what's the happy mix? Anything you'd suggest?
I mean, so a couple things for the advocate conversation and the peer group piece are
Mm.
the two things that for me made the biggest difference.
Yeah.
And the advocate conversation is where we focus on the top 20%, like the 80/20 rule and segmentation, A through D clients. Advocates are above A clients. Advocates are a win-win relationship. Your missions are complementary. We love them, or at least really enjoy being around them. They have resources. That means that the people they know have resources, and there's a level of trust. This is like the guys that go out on the golf course all day and then they sign the contract at the end of the day, right? There's a level of enjoyment and trust and ease, and we want to be around these people. Those are advocates and they're well connected. So if they are loving us, they're naturally going to be sharing with others.
Yeah.
And most people, especially at the beginning, we go out just throwing a huge net and trying to get anyone we can. And that energy is what then shows up on our calendar, which is way too much to manage. And 80% of that is toxic anyway, on some level, or transactional, like I said. So to really start looking around, who is around you that you want to hang out with? Who do you want to partner with? Who do you want to play with? And then having a very honest conversation with those folks. I was working at Microsoft back in the day, and I was I was coaching in Microsoft, and it was month to month financially. I was a starving coach, and I paused, and just in my frustration, I got a pull back and I looked at this advocate thing. One of the things I realized, I want to do communication work. And I have people in Microsoft that are begging for communication work. So I called my contact and said, I want to do communication work with you at Microsoft. And that was it. They took me, had this entire rollout from that one conversation, and
Oh, wow. Wow, wow.
two phone calls that day.
When was that? Leslie, when was that?
My gosh, 20 years ago.
Well, just before my time, but certainly in my time, we could also have done with some communication. We could have done with it down in ours at that time.
Example illustrates not only it was one calling someone that I knew was
Yeah.
well connected
Mm.
and could make a decision, but two was knowing what I wanted to provide for people,
Yeah, exactly.
right?
Exactly. It's funny. Earlier today, I had a conversation with a very, very large bank here that does a lot of help and support for early stage startups,
Uh,
and they want me to support them with a whole bunch of things. And for one of the first times in my life, I didn't have an absolute for them to anchor into. Oh yeah, we'll do that. And what they're looking for is a solution. And just to your point, what Microsoft were looking for was an outcome. They needed to
yeah,
improve their communication. These
yeah,
guys need to improve, like, I don't know, their reach and their ability to kind of touch more early stage startups. And I have great connections in that space, but for some reason I don't know, my tongue got in the way, my head got in the way. Something happened, and I couldn't articulate it to this lady. I had to kind of go, yeah, well, I could do a lot of things. And as soon as you go, yeah, I could do a lot of things, lose the specificity, then you kind of lose the room because they're looking for you to guide them.
right.
Uh,
Sounds like a phone call back today.
well, it's an email
Tomorrow.
back and a phone call back, and to be honest, she's just down the road here. So I'm going to say, I'll put my teeth back in. Let's try that.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
what about then these high tickets? Is it high ticket pricing, or are you pricing per hour? Are you pricing per session? So are they individuals that are coming on the spiral, or are they?
No, in coaching, just in general, I learned way back in the day that it's a process, it's a container. It's like going into surgery. And so you wouldn't get up and leave surgery in the middle, and surgery doesn't happen in one session. So I do 6 months minimum. And people, I call myself a trusted advisor. And again, non-prescriptive, which is tricky because if you say, well, we'll see what happens, it's going to be like, no, that doesn't work either. Or just saying it's fully customized. Still, what am I getting? But so I see coaching as an ongoing process, and I generally do not do one-off sessions. There's so much happening in the 6 months that's outside of our connection in a call. and what happens in a call, right? The rubber meets the road out in life. So it's what are they doing because of the insights they're having.
Love that. Excellent. Can we just move just slightly into then finding new clients? So let's say, for example, you're a coach and you've just found a marketing agency to do some posting for you, and that hasn't worked. Is there another little experiment maybe someone could use along your kind of method without doing the whole kind of social? What would you suggest?
Colin, the advocate relationship and the peer group piece are the two pieces that instead of, marketing, I've focused on relationships that people that you, like we talked about, who you want to hang out with and all of that. So if you apply that to peer groups, one of the things that happened for me was that I created a peer group with an advocate host, I call it. So we have a partner who is committed to building a peer group with you. And then there's a process that we go through to secure 10 to 12 people over the course of maybe 3 months that are saying, I'm committing to this peer group over time. And I do a 1-year commitment because people can't commit to life, but I tell them we're planning to be together for a long time. And so then you are underway building your peer group culture. That is what I did 15 years ago approximately was create a peer group inside of a larger organization, a larger peer organization of leaders, with maybe 400 members. And the peer group we formed, I mean, I wasn't aware of all this exactly at the time, but I was working with a lot of the leaders of that organization. And so over time, we go to events, big networking events, and people can feel the love between us. They can feel the energy and they're like, who are you people? And so I got a lot of credibility and clout and respect, and recognition, visibility, right? As a coach. And I have really strict confidentiality rules thanks to that other, experience.
And you're creating little mini tribes.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
And if they're embedded in a larger one, I mean, really, that's great. So I'm helping people build peer groups, using Spiral Method. How do you build a peer group? Or I have 4 of them now. Yeah.
So look, I don't want to end. I
Oh,
don't
we
want
haven't
to end I
ended.
don't want to
Okay.
end our podcast, Leslie.
Well, good, Colin. We should
But I
talk.
just want to keep talking to you. This is great. So look, at some point we're going to have to, and I'm going to need to get some dinner. Tell us about we've got a certification workshop coming up. Is it November 6th?
November 6th is a 1-day workshop where I'm teaching people the basics of spiral facilitation such that they can go out and start facilitating small groups using spiral. Certification is 6 months long, and we'll do that next year. I'm also teaching in the 1-day how to build peer groups.
Can we do this online?
Yes, it's all on Zoom.
Where's the
No.
QR code, Leslie?
Duh.
Uh,
I have
uh,
to send you something.
So what we'll do in the show notes after, we'll make sure that everyone's got access to the workshop, and the 3 people that might listen to this, maybe one of them will. I'm joking. There might be 3 plus another 3 by this time.
Amazing people.
I know.
The ones that we want.
But it sounds like a really, really good workshop, practical outcomes, and it sounds like they could probably take that and then use that immediately.
Yeah, that's the point.
I think that'd be
Yeah.
lovely. So I guess, look, tip of the day, if you want high value clients, it's not just about Facebook posting and being the energy in the room. Oh yeah, coaching. No, hell yeah. No. You can stop chasing attention. You can start designing experiences maybe that people can't stop talking about. And maybe then the best marketing is transformation your clients share on your behalf.
People and trust.
Do you know who said that?
I think that was me. I gotta write that quote down.
Some of this stuff, exactly. Look, the author of this is amazing. I love this. Hey, look, Leslie, thank you for showing us that high value clients don't just come from chasing dreams, sunsets, and algorithms. They come from creating great experiences. So learn more at spiralmethod.com. The workshop is on the 6th of November. And hey, look, if you enjoyed this episode, please share it with a coach or an advisor who needs to hear it. Subscribe for more conversations on building all of these lovely, lovely things that we're trying to help you do. Building practices that attract the right clients, not just any clients. Leslie, you've been fantastic. I've loved this. Thank you so.
Colin, have a great evening.
Thank you.